Hello everyone, today I'm taking you for a walk in the forest for a little bivouac. So, in this video I'm going to focus on setting up a basic shelter for winter. So, the special feature of the system I'm going to show you today is that we'll be able to heat the inside of the shelter until we reach livable temperatures. Even comfortable, always with minimal equipment. So now, cleaning the plot, routine check. I'm not on a trail, I shouldn't be bothered by animals. No dangerous trees, and if there's heavy rain, there's a slight slope, it's not a basin. So I'm taking advantage of this moment to gather all the dead wood I see. So it's also important that I remove all the thorny plants, all the wandering branches, because I'm going to set up the tarps and it's easy to damage them. So, small shovel, the 4x3 tarp, the 3x3 tarp, fire kit, various accessories, cord kit, dry bag 6. So we can pull it quickly so that it's nice and flat. So obviously we choose the area to have as little work as possible. So basically we build these shelters with 2 large crossbeams, and then we set up the 2 tarps. So there's one thing you really need to pay attention to, and that's the orientation of the shelter in relation to the prevailing wind. We'll come back to that. So for installing the lower crossbar, I set it about at the level of my navel or my solar plexus to have a bit more comfort. I've prepared 4-meter cords and I'm going to make a square lashing. To start the square lashing, you make a simple clove hitch, like here on the vertical crossbar. So in the next step, you wrap the 2 strands like this. And you place the crossbar at this level. Next, we can start the real thing. There you go. But we're going to do about 3 turns of 3 turns, not much. In this way. Once the 3 turns are done, we come here and there, and we're going to tighten the whole ligature. Now you're starting to have something solid. So here you can see that I had planned for 4 meters depending on the logs I would find. We're a bit generous. So to finish this square lashing, I'm going to tie a clove hitch on the horizontal crosspiece. So I'm going to do it with the second technique using 2 reversed loops, and I'm just going to put it here quite simply. So here you have a knot that holds very, very well and can be undone very easily. So now I'm going to start making the Dakota fire. Normally you place the air intake based on the prevailing wind, but here it's very sheltered without any wind, so I can put it wherever I want. Here, I'm making a nice opening so I can have maximum air intake. So installing the bottom tarp, in this case it's 4 meters by 3 with the cord, simply a clove hitch knot. So here I stop in the middle of the tarp at 2 meters. And stakes, we'll have to readjust that later. So we fold the tarp here to make a ground sheet, and then we'll put the second tarp, the upper tarp, at this level. This is the 3 sur 3. Now that I've done a good part of the wood, I can set up an emergency blanket here as an extra layer above the sleeping area. In order to reflect the heat, we'll see that it'll even create a pocket of warmth once the fire is going. So, when there are several of us in these shelters, obviously, we can also put survival blankets in front, on the sides, in order to insulate even better and further increase the temperature inside the shelter. So survival blankets are not mini shrouds, obviously, because the blankets are very light. So at each corner, we're going to tie a bowline knot simply so we can place it over the pile. Generally, since it's very light, a bowline knot is enough. About this Dakota fire. If you find some stones, it's a good idea to place them around the fire pit. First, because it will create a sort of chimney effect, and especially because the stones will store heat and release it. As a result, you'll have better thermal inertia and, above all, a better distribution of heat in the shelter. So if your fire is well made, you won't be in smoke, but obviously all your belongings and tarps will smell quite strongly of smoke. So when the Aquota fire system gets going, you'll have a pretty lively fire like here, with no smoke, very little smoke, and actually you can feel it quite easily. Normally you can feel the fresh air coming in from outside, supplying oxygen to the fire next to it. That's the principle. So for the air intake of the fire, preferably, you place it on the side of the prevailing wind in order to properly oxygenate the fire. So depending on the layout of the land, you can make several air intakes. It's possible. You just need to make several channels like I did at the beginning. It's a bit more work, but it will optimize the draft and it will reduce the amount of smoke in the shelter. So the drawbacks of this shelter now are that these shelters don't handle heavy snowfall and strong winds very well. So you'll also need significant resources in terms of wood so you can keep the fire going all night. So these shelters are good shelters for forested areas in winter and for temperate zones. So you should know that in a shelter like this, you'll be able to create a temperature difference with the outside of about 20 degrees very easily. So you should also know that the temperatures, of course, are not uniform. Near the fire, obviously, it's very, very hot. So then you still have some open areas with a few drafts. So depending on the size of the hearth, the amount of wood you've gathered, and the tightness of the partitions you've built, you can easily reach a temperature difference of 25 degrees. So these shelters are particularly effective for a pair, but with a model like this, you can sleep up to 3, even 4 people quite easily. So this allows everyone to pool their energy, and it becomes interesting. So alone, you'll mostly be looking at a camp for the weekend or even a week. When you build a shelter like this, for a one-night bivouac, it's a bit too much energy to spend. So for setting up the shelter here, I took a tarp. A tarp that's 3 by 4 at this point so that there's some left over to make a ground sheet. And a tarp that's 3 by 3 on this side. But you can make any variations you want. So you can use 3 by 3 tarps, 2 by 3 tarps, or 2 by 2 tarps. So you'll just need to adapt your structure to the equipment you have. But with ponchos or tarps that are too small, you'll have fire hazards, and moreover, the shelter will be much smaller. So for the sidewalls here, I used heather, but you can use any evergreen plants like holm oak, cork oak, holly, bamboo, ivy, broom, some laurels, and especially conifers, like firs and pines. So here I have a nice piece of wild boar. So taking down the shelter now, we're going to try as a rule to leave the area as we found it. So we're packing up all the equipment. Last night, the temperatures were pretty mild. It must have dropped to 3 or 4 degrees at most. It rained during the night, and it rained yesterday evening too. So inside the shelter, it was really very, very mild. So this type of shelter, you should know that it's quite easy with really minimal sleeping gear to sleep in negative temperatures down to -10. It's doable. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to like it. If you want to see more setups, other types of shelters, subscribe. It's the best way to support the channel. And I'll see you soon for more videos.